Good evening and welcome. We will begin with the Tuesday, May 20th Community Services Commission meeting. I'll have the roll call.
Chairperson Megan Scarborough Eckel.
Present.
Vice Chairperson Armin Ordian. Commissioner Ronald Phillips. Commissioner Michael Slater.
Present.
Commissioner Ricardo Briceño.
Present.
Thank you, Edith. We'll move on to the Pledge of Allegiance. Could I have Commissioner Briceño read us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, liberty, and justice for all.
Thank you. We'll move on to item number 3, Commissioner comments. I'll start with Commissioner Slater.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to share this report. I want to take a moment to recognize the incredible work happening across our city and the momentum we continue to build together. Since March, Indio has been buzzing with energy through events like Coachella, Asala Fest, Food Truck Fridays, and more. We've seen firsthand how intentional programming and community partnerships can spark connection and pride. These events don't just happen, they're a result of collaboration between city staff, local businesses, community members, and volunteers. I'm proud to serve alongside all of you as we work to create a more connected, inclusive, and thriving Indio. I want to take a moment to just celebrate our local businesses for creating community. Our local businesses continue to be an essential asset in creating meaningful experiences for residents and visitors alike. Businesses such as Papa Hits have played a major role in feeding families during our movie nights at Center Stage and teaming up with Cabinos to bring delicious hybrid flavors during Asala Fest, enhancing the cultural rich flavors we experience in our downtown area. Tap House continues to enhance the vibe of our events by opening their beer garden during concerts or hosting cars and coffee, cornhole tournaments, and trivia nights that keep residents engaged and connected. Rosemary Hi-Fi as well, who has been doing an awesome job at providing a unique experience, a unique, ever-changing listening experience that welcomes people of all ages and backgrounds into a shared cultural space. Together, these businesses are helping to foster connection of culture and community across Indio. And I have more to report on regarding my parks and golf courses, but I'll wait for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Slater. I do not have any comments other than happy 95th birthday to the city of Indio. I'll move on to Commissioner Briceño.
No comments from me.
Thank you. We'll move on to item number 4, public comment. Edith, do we have any?
No public comments.
Thank you. Item number 5, minutes. Can I get a motion?
I motion to approve the minutes from March 18th, 2025.
I second.
I'll have roll call, Edith.
Chairperson Megan Scarborough Eckel.
Aye.
Commissioner Michael Slater.
Aye.
Commissioner Ricardo Briceño.
Aye.
Motion carries to pass minutes.
Thank you. Now we have a presentation on the Indio Sports Park.
Hello, Commissioners. My name is Don Ueno. I am with your city's engineering division. And the last time I was before you, this was right before we started construction on the Indio Sports Park. And I wanted to give you guys an update. We've kind of broke ground last May 1st. And I just kind of wanted to give you an overview, as well as the community that may be watching at home, what's involved and, basically what it looks like today. So a lot of these pictures I took last week on Friday, so this is the most up-to-date snapshot that you can get of the Indio Sports Park. So to recap, the first phase one, that's under construction now, does include 11 soccer fields for various age groups, one big football professional field, a baseball field, a softball field, as well as a perimeter walking path, shade structures with barbecue and picnic tables, drinking fountains, a restroom and concession stand, and 96 parking stalls. So if you recall, or maybe some of you guys are new to the commission, but we did get a Prop 86 grant that gave us $8.5 million, which the city matched. So this is like a $11 million park that we're building with this. Obviously, we did want to include more amenities, but with only receiving $8.5 million, we did have to scale down the project. So what we did was focused on what the community told us were their priorities, and clearly, overwhelmingly, it was for outdoor play areas, specifically soccer fields, lighted baseball fields, and I'll show you a slide with the priorities further in the presentation. But this is kind of what's under construction right now. We do anticipate opening sometime in November of this year. One of the holdups that happened during construction was there's this big switch gear that controls the electricity in the park. We were given a ship date of May of this year, so it should have been here by now. Sometime in March, they gave us an updated delivery date, and that was the day after Labor Day. So without fully having the park electricity, we had to kind of shift things around and kind of do what we can with the temporary power that we got there. But I'll just go through some of the photos. So this is the baseball field. Obviously, you can see the backstop and the bleachers have gone in. Here you'll see some of the infield clay that they're putting in for the baseball fields. More shots of the backstops for the two baseball fields in the park. Here's another shot of this is more the soccer area. Just wanted to show that we did start planting some trees. We have the perimeter walking path, which you see the sidewalk there. So I know from our current park in South Jackson Park, a lot of the parents tell me that ever since we put that walking path around, when their kids are playing soccer, they just like to walk loops, and they said that was pretty cool. So we're doing the same thing here, having, a meandering loop to go through the park. Just for exercise and something to do. Here's a kind of a close-up of the shade structure and picnic areas. So you can see we have the barbecue pits, the coal trash bin, as well as, there's some lights in there and stuff like that. Here's a photo of the restroom building that's under construction. So the restrooms are to the shorter building to the right. In the middle, there's a storage area for sports equipment and things of that the city needs. And then on the left is the concession stand. So that's kind of right between the two baseball fields. So those are the photos that I have. As you can see, we don't have the sod in yet. We need the full electricity to run all the irrigation so that it can keep everything watered. And then once we do get the sod in, to establish it, the water's going to be running in different zones, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, until the grass really takes shape. You might get concerns from residents that may tell you, hey, the grass is turning yellow. We know that that's going to happen, but we know that it always comes back very green. So by the time the park opens in November, it should be very green. It's just the heat. It's gonna kill it, and then every time they mow it, it's gonna it will turn yellow but we're going to make sure it establishes very well on this park. The reason why I wanted to bring up this, I just wanted to show you, this was a needs assessment that we did during the development of the park. Basically, we asked the public to rank, what were their most desired, what was just desired, somewhat desired, and so forth. And of the feedback that we received, the top 10 most desired features were shade structures, open field space for organized sports, the walking path, the restroom concession building, public art, fitness trails, picnic tables, the community garden, pet-friendly space, and the internet Wi-Fi. So of the top 10, the Scale Down project was able to get the 6 of those. Why I bring that up, let's skip that, is that we are now kind of planning ahead for some upcoming grants that are going to be due in August and November of this year. So we do want to kind of start the conversation. We're starting with you guys. And this is kind of a mock-up of like what we heard from the last go-around, including pickleball courts, tennis courts, basketball courts, the community garden, skate park, sand volleyball courts, large and small dog parks, playground equipment for infants and different age groups, the horseshoe pits, and then the shade structure, splash pad, and obviously more parking. This is just kind of a mock-up, so if anything comes to your mind where you're saying, hey, you've been hearing in the community X sport or Y sport, it changes all the time. Now would be the time to let us know. And then we can, do our usual social media outreach and kind of get the feedback from the community so that we can apply for these grants. This particular configuration you see would be approximately $15 million. Obviously, there's a shaded area to the, I guess that's the left, and it says future facility or something, recreation facility. So that area is kind of set aside for like a gymnasium or indoor activities. Obviously, a building would cost a lot more money, and so we are, trying to expand the park in phase 2 by providing more outdoor things, because I think we can get a bigger variety for our dollars. And then in a phase 3, focus on the indoor sports. Obviously, if the community feels differently, we'll listen to the community. But this is kind of our strategy that we want to apply for grants later on this year. So I just kind of wanted to get you guys in the know for this. And that's kind of why I was going over our most desired assessment, so that we can find room for the public art. We do have a public art space, but what art was there originally, the turtle was supposed to go there. As you know, or may not know, we did put the turtle in North Jackson Park. So, things change, but we do have an area for public art. But, back in, I forgot when we did this, but before the park was done, people talked about fitness trails, dog parks, community gardens. So we've included that in the mock-up that I shared with you. And then the last thing I wanted to share with you all is, I think if some of you were here when I came the last time, I asked about the sports park signage. Here's kind of the idea, based off of what you said, it didn't have to look like the flagstone that you see everywhere at our other parks, but kind of tied in together. So we came up with this idea. And then what makes it a little interesting on the sides, those are gabion baskets. So usually these baskets are filled with rocks you might see in a garden, where it's these like block cages filled with rocks. And so we thought, hey, why don't we fill it with used sports balls? One concern that did come up from the community was that they felt that they were worried, I guess, that people would cut into that and try to steal the balls, even if it were deflated or dirty old used balls. And it's a, you know, it's a valid concern, but what our feedback was that we could always do the signage without the Gap Beyond baskets, but you know, we just kind of wanted to put something out there that looked kind of cool, kind of brought, you know, something different to our signature sports park for Indio, and then it still doesn't stray too far away from our other park signage. As you know, we've changed all the park signage to put the new City of Indio logo. So this is kind of food for thought for you guys, you know, if you guys have any feedback for us, but I did want to follow up because I did come here many months ago to ask about the sports park, and I just want to let you know I didn't forget. I still want your feedback, and that concludes my presentation. So, are there any questions for me?
Go ahead.
Yes, Commissioner Briseño. I'm actually the commissioner and oversee the South Jackson Park, and I think one of the big things that you guys did bring up was a walking area. I mean, I'm there on a constant basis due to the youth soccer, and it's been a very, very positive build. Another thing that has continued to be brought up is the shade structures, which you listed as number one, and that's still a concern at the South Jackson. So trying to figure out if the areas where the kids will be playing and the parents sitting, will those areas have shade structures? Because I've gone to many soccer tournaments where a lot of the scene areas actually have a shade structure for the families. Just wondering if something like that was considered for this park.
I don't, other than the ones that I showed you in the photos, I think what you're describing is a little different, correct?
Yes, yes.
And we were trying to maximize the play area, knowing that a lot of times when it's, you know, those days when it's fully, every field is taken, everybody brings their easy ups and stuff like that. So we were trying to find that balance and try to see where people are congregating. But it wouldn't be kind of like a large dedicated structure. It would be more of these little octagon shaped things around the perimeter to kind of spread people out so that they're not on top of each other. But if you have suggestions as far as how we could make it better, I'm definitely open, even if it's, if we were to go out to Jackson and you could like point out things, I think that would be helpful for us. And that way we, if it can't be incorporated now, we could always install it later, right? See how people are using the various fields, see, yeah, so, but it would be valuable information for us to kind of see, you know, how people are using the parks, where shade is needed, and kind of work towards making it better. Yeah, definitely. I would definitely love that feedback. So, yeah.
Thank you, Don. And then as for the second park or future park, right?
Yeah.
It looks like you have 3 tennis courts that are projected to go in. Is that something that came out from the community, or that was just by design at the moment?
It's just a design placeholder. I mean, it's just concept.
Okay.
Concept. So if the desire is more of a different sport, you know,
Like
obviously,
basketball? Yes.
obviously if it's more basketball, if it's more pickleball, more whatever, yeah, it's just lines on the paper right now.
Great.
But we're trying to get people, show people something so that we can get the conversation started, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
The mapping's beautiful, so
Yeah.
yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Beautiful concepts. I'm excited to see it happen. I personally have a preference towards, with regard to the signage, to concept A. I like the slanted logo. I
Yeah.
thought that was really nice looking. With regard to the sport balls in the Gabion cage,
Yeah.
I think that's what it was called.
Gabions. Yeah.
Gabion. My
Yeah.
apologies.
No worries.
I have seen those before, like with rocks and stuff, and they're really
Yeah.
beautiful looking. I do hear the residents' concerns with regards to, like, if we were to place real balls in there, people could pick at the leather, and after time, the balls will deteriorate and look ugly. I do like the idea of putting balls in there, though, because it is themed for the sports park. So maybe potentially looking into some, I don't know, like concrete shaped balls, or like just longer lasting item that'll kind of deter people from wanting to break into it, because they see it's not a real ball that they could play with, but also that still is shaped like a ball.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the idea and the concept are beautiful. A question though, with regard to the reservations for these parks, so like if someone wanted to go play a couple games there, do they need to make reservations for that?
So I think we are working with the Desert Rec District.
Yeah.
So that will continue as they do for other parks. It will be the same process.
Perfect.
For Indio Sports Park. Yeah.
Okay. And then with regard to the final design for this park, I know with regard to specific amenities that are going to be going into the final phase of the park, would there be another community listening session, or are you soliciting community feedback with regard to what's in place now?
We're still exploring options as far as what the community outreach is going to be, whether it's social media or was it going to, obviously we have one grant due in August, which is before phase 1 opens. Oftentimes when we do the phase 1 opening, that's when we get the comments, right? As far as like, hey, you should make this better or that better, which is great feedback, but it might not be in time for like that August application. Obviously we can tweak things after, we submit for our grant. But as far as how we're gonna do the outreach, we haven't really come up with our game plan as far as that. Definitely use social media, because that's where people seem to be interacting with the city. Like convening a meeting, like we don't even get an audience tonight, but this is such a cool project, and so we don't know what the turnout would be for, but I think you will see there's obviously great community support for Indio Sports Park, so maybe they will show up to get their opinions heard. But we haven't mapped out what the outreach plan is going to be for it. This was more to give you guys an update and, show you like, hey, this is where the park stands. But we are definitely considering various options. Maybe it's another one of these meetings that we promote and invite the public to talk about. It could be a community meeting there. It could be at the ribbon cutting for the park.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different options, but I also want to emphasize that it's not just one and done, right? It's not just like a one meeting and then that's what everybody says, because we get new residents, we get new ideas, we get new popularity in sports, we get, people start using it and say, oh, like, I wish they changed this, or I wish they added that, and then it gets people talking. So I'm very supportive of those types of conversations, and it's not, we'll build the park, and then obviously with all of our parks we can add to it, we can make it better, we can improve it over time, but we do want to try to get as much grant money as we can so that we have a fantastic sports park. So.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you for that. I was just kind of segueing off of Commissioner Briseño's comment with regard to like, is this feature of the park going to be utilized? Is it more of something that they wanted in the past? Is this something that's being asked of now? Just because I know once things are in place at a park, it's kind of hard to remove it and demo it and just rebuild that, because it's going to impact a lot of things. So I was just asking, just with regard to, I guess, relevancy for like, what are the features that I wanted in this park from our community? It wasn't meant to say you guys aren't doing what needs to be done. It's just, again, I know that the grant cycles are coming up. I manage the CDBG grants for the county, and I have experience with developing parks when I work with Desert Rec as well.
Cool.
So yeah, I just want to ensure that the community is able to kind of provide that feedback and give an opportunity to do so. But
definitely.
Yeah, thank you so much for that.
And it helps our grant score higher when we do this community outreach, as you probably know.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think my only comment is I know that Commissioner Slater and I have talked about this before, that DRD was planning for an indoor skate park, I think at the Metro 8 space that they had acquired, but I think that I've heard a lot from the community that maybe that is something we should focus on in phase 2, because that is something we don't have in Indio, and I know that a lot of, our youth does have to go over to La Quinta if they want to use a skate park, and not saying that that may not happen at the Metro 8 space eventually, but I just think in respect to the way things are with special districts right now and what we've seen with the LA fires and people not paying property taxes, we don't know what will happen in that space. So if we could plan for a skate park, I think that would be great for the community.
Cool. Yeah, and I think there were versions of different parks having skate parks. Whether or not the community wants it at the Indio Sports Park would be a conversation that we can have. But yeah, definitely. I mean, even the La Quinta one, you could see how much it's used. And I mean, obviously, I don't think we can get that fancy with our skate park, but we could definitely have, something for people to go to and have fun, as well as I like the mix of activities you can have. So, one kid could be skateboarding, another one could be at the playground, and then, you could be out there playing with your dog. It's just kind of all centralized. So, yeah. But good feedback, and definitely I like the ideas of the sign. I think everybody's going towards the slanted one because it just kind of looks a little more cool, and it also matches the restrooms that have, if you remember, it had that slanted thing. So, yeah, so great feedback.
I was thinking rocks instead of cement for the balls.
We could do
Find rocks and paint them.
paint them rock.
Paint them
painted
like
rocks,
a softball,
yeah.
paint them like a football.
Yeah.
I'm sure you can find like a cylindrical one for a
Yeah.
football and bigger one for a basketball, but
Yeah.
it might be rocks instead of cement, just an idea.
And the other thing that was brought up is maybe we could do like a thing where you could do like a hatch where you can replace, I mean, I don't know who would want to steal balls, but people just steal them
Anything.
because they're bored, right?
Right.
And so we could just, get more used balls and just stick more in as time. Or if they get, dirty and ugly looking, we could put, have that hatch open, and so we could replace the balls or something like that. But I just kind of wanted to hear what you guys thoughts were, because if we just abandon the whole thing, I don't know, is not as special, but
Yeah.
Well, I think if you leave the mechanism where you could replace the balls, I mean, you're looking at going to be thousands of kids, balls being damaged that could be replaced. Those balls could be replaced.
that's what I thought too.
So I really do see that,
Yeah.
and I think when I saw that, it looked very nice. But
Yeah.
I think we're all here concerned about the
Yeah.
vandalism that could take place
Yeah.
and the damaging of that property,
Yeah.
not the balls. Because
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I do soccer in Indio, baseball,
Yeah.
everything, and that's not the concern. The concern is the damage of that
Right.
cage or
Yeah.
whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And Ricardo probably has 1,000 soccer balls in his house.
Yeah, that's
that
what
he
we
could
thought. We
lend us.
thought, the various leagues could give us their
Yes.
old balls, tennis balls.
More than happy to give you
Yeah. Great. Thank you for your time. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to department updates. I'll start with myself on special events. We just finished festival season in Indio, and I'm happy to say that this time a lot of the council members from other cities that I do deal with, I did not hear any complaints about traffic or anything this time, so that was great during festival season. And just a thank you to city staff with the inaugural Asada Festival. It was incredible, and I'm really excited that that's something we can be looking forward to in the future. And that concludes my comments. I will move on to Commissioner Briceño.
I do not have any comments for the community service.
Thank you. Commissioner Slater?
I do have a couple of comments in regard to the lights at Indio Golf Course. So I recently had the opportunity to golf at the lights at Indio and had a great conversation with Jeff, the general manager. We discussed what's been going well, including our mutual excitement for the new clubhouse and the expansion of the First Tee program to better serve youth in Indio and in the East Valley. We also revisited an important safety concern, which is golf balls from the driving range occasionally flying onto two of the golf course holes, creating a potential hazard. While we understand that golf courses inherently carry some risks, we can't control the skill level of some players. Installing netting between the range and the course could significantly reduce the chances of injury and create greater peace of mind for all users, especially with the First Tee programming coming to Indio. Jeff mentioned that he had these conversations in the past with the city of Indio, so I just wanted to reintroduce those conversations to ensure that once the clubhouse is complete, we kind of remedy any potential safety concerns. He had mentioned in the past that they had discussed the cost of this project, and he mentioned it would be roughly between $100,000 to $200,000. I'm not sure if that's changed with the cost of everything going up, but I would like to bring this to the city's attention once again, and I encourage us to explore grants and alternative funding sources to offset the cost and ensure long-term safety for our residents.
Thank you, Commissioner Slater. I did have a question. I'm not sure if you can answer it about the lights at the Indio Golf Course that I've been getting from various golfers. If the practice facility will go back to having grass or if it's going to stay as a mat. Because I've been getting that complaint.
So they're going to switch between grass and mats. I think they're letting the grass grow right now, even though it's dying. But as soon as we get into overseeding season, they'll have a mat day or mat days and grass days. The golf course that I used to manage, we had weekends were grass and weekdays were, the other way around. Weekends were mats and weekdays were grass. And we kind of had the same setup at the golf course I managed where you had a big grass area so you could keep moving things back, but the range would help that and not have to reseed and fertilize as much because you had the mat. So they're going to do that where it's going to be both. I just don't know when they're going to kick that in, which I think when the new clubhouse is ready, they'll kick that in as well.
Thank you, Jim.
And then I'll look on the netting for that. The upkeep and maintenance and repairs are the things that cost the most. So whatever the initial cost is with grants and things like that, it's the upkeep that's the worst. And with the wind up there, as you know, it blows heavy. We had a wind specialist probably years ago that looked at it and said, you will be repairing this net every day. Almost. He didn't say every day, but he said you'll be spending a lot of money with repairs. I look at that compared to how many accidents we actually had in the last 20 years that I've been running it, and there's been virtually zero. Somebody might have got hit in the leg and it wasn't that serious, right? But if somebody got hit in the head, and I do have a couple photos from inside the golf course, but not the driving range, on getting hit with a ball. So we got to look at that to see if the cost will actually offset what the safety factor is. Definitely safety concern. I've been on number 1 green, number 10 green when balls have come over, but luckily I've never been hit. But we got to look at mostly the maintenance and the repairs and the upkeep of a netting that would be that large to help us. And then we have to look at the liability of that. If we put a net up, then we're taking on the liability of an errant golf ball, where the errant golf ball is and I've been to court many times on this, an errant golf ball is the responsibility of the golfer, not of the golf course. So I've been to many lawsuits and many courts where the judge has said the same thing, where if somebody hits it over a fence into a street and has knocks a windshield out, the golf course is not responsible for that. It would be the the person golfer. So you would just have to figure out who hit it, which is one of the biggest things, and if they would confess to it, and then if they would pay for that. So it's a tough situation, but I'll look at all that and get back to you guys.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on to park updates. I will start with Commissioner Slater.
All right, so Dr. Carrion has seen increased activity with families regularly playing soccer, basketball, and just making use of the space, which is awesome to see when I do my walks there or just drive by Dr. Carrion. The dog parks continue to be a highlight. They're really well maintained, safe, and filled with friendly community members and pets, as well as the extra amenities that community members leave, whether it be dog balls or water bowls. It's awesome. So that's my report for parks and public spaces.
Thank you, Commissioner Slater. I have Kauai Park, Patton Park, and Milligan Dog Park. With the wind and the heat picking up, I haven't seen much activity at Kauai and Milligan. I think Patton is probably the most visited of my parks, probably because of the pickleball courts. But there has been a lot of usage lately, and the parks are in great shape, and I haven't heard a lot of complaints about vandalism or anything from anyone in the community, so I think DRD is doing a great job. Commissioner Brisenia.
Yes, I handle the Burr Street Park, South Jackson, and the Shield Park. I've heard no complaints other than against shade structure. I think for the Burr Park Street, the shade structure is put up in a, I guess, different way where it doesn't really shade much of the playground area. So there is limited shade with the structure that's already put in place. Really no comments on Shield Park. I've not seen people there at the time that I've gone, but they are maintained. Like Commissioner said here, they're nicely cut by DRD. The South Jackson Park, I've seen much improvement as I'm there on a daily basis. You know, there is some trees that are planted that is going to provide more shade for the community and for the families. They would like to see a control of the gophers that we still have out there. They continue to damage the fields. And other than that, the repair of the lights have been going well. And overall, I've been getting very good reports, for the exception that there's concerns that were brought to my attention about DRD no longer having the grant or the management of the parks. So I wanted to bring that to the attention of the commission here.
So I can answer. So they're still going to manage the parks. There are a lot of rumors going on out there, but DRD is going to manage the park, and that's it. They're not going to have park ambassadors. They're not going to provide security. They're not going to obviously do any maintenance on it. That they were doing a little bit, but no more of that. So they are just going to manage reservations for all of our parks. We are going to take over our security company. Cerna Security Company is going to step in and handle the security for those parks from now on, and not because they're not having those ambassadors. And we'll be taking over all of the maintenance of the fields as well. And we'll just look for their assistance. If they see gopher holes or things at the parks while they're working, they'll tell us. But that's the only thing they're going to be doing. No security and no park ambassadors any longer.
When another thing that I need to bring up on the South Jackson Park, I'm not sure if the city owns the street behind the Sunline. They made suggestions of the parking area to actually be lined up, as it would fit more cars, as we know that park gets inundated with traffic. And the suggestion has come with side parking so that more vehicles actually fit than parallel parking.
That's on the north side, right?
That is on the
other
north
street
side,
there? Oh,
correct. Right
that's a good
behind the
idea.
Sunline.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll bring that up to Public Works.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Commissioner. Item number 9, updates from Jim.
Sorry about that. That would be me. So as you said, we did have a successful festival season, long hours. I had a lot of overtime for those hours, lots and lots. But really after that first Thursday, which you probably heard about camping and the long lines, things were changed. Golden Voice rep went to the city council meeting in La Quinta and then apologized, then came here and apologized as well to our city council. And we met multiple times from that Thursday until the next Wednesday and figured out a plan, came up with a great plan, which is what the team always does when there's an issue, and solved it for the following Thursday. Streets were clear. There was nobody that was late for work, nobody late for school. Buses could get through. And then we used that same program for the next Thursday for Stagecoach, for the RVs. no traffic on Monroe, pretty much no traffic on Madison, and a little bit on 52. But again, we did the same thing we did for Coachella 2 with the Stagecoach folks and the RVs, and traffic was good as well. And then, we always have some minor issues that we solve, but overall it was a good festival season. There wasn't many cell phone thefts that they've had in the past. They really cracked down on that. They say arrests went up, right, on each weekend, slightly amount. It was mostly ID stuff, things like that that the arrests came through, but really successful for Golden Voice. And then they went into 3 weeks of events at the Rose Bowl right after that. So busy folks at Golden Voice. As you said, Asada Fest, very good. We had about 7,900 people there, which somebody asked me when I told them that. They said, where does everybody park? And I say, I don't know. They park everywhere. They find a spot. They find a place. We have a couple little parking spots, but they came, and Asada Fest was very successful. Vendors were very, very happy. They want to do it again, of course. So that'll be coming back next year for sure. We're having a 4th of July event at Empire Polo Club this year. It'll be on what date? Very nice. It'll be on Friday, July 4th, and we are going to have a drone show, and it'll be kind of right where the Spectra Tower is at Coachella and Stagecoach, the big, colorful round table. It's going to be a big grass area there. We're going to have stage there. We have performers, and we have a drone show, so that'll happen on July 4th. So we expect a lot of people because there's not a lot on the east side here as far as events, but we're going to have a great time for sure, and hopefully the weather's going to be nice. And that's it for my report.
Jim, will there be a cost?
No, be free. Yeah. Cost to us, the city, but, but that's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you, Jim. Are there any more comments or questions for my fellow commissioners?
I just do want to thank the City of Indio for working with Golden Voice. The traffic situation was night and day from week 1 to week 2, so second weekend, I didn't know there was an event happening. Like, I didn't see any traffic, so hats off to y'all. Thank you. Yes.
All right, if there are no more comments or questions, then we will adjourn.